Hi everybody, Lauren McLaughlin here, and this should be no stranger to you guys. He's the current darling of pickleball. I have a first date today with Zane Navratil, so do not go anywhere, guys. We're gonna learn some stuff you didn't know. Hi everybody, welcome back. I am Lauren McLaughlin, and today I am on a first date with none other than Gucci Zane Navratil. Hello Gucci, how are you?
What's going on, Lauren? How's it going?
It's going. We're lounging in the shade. We're relaxed in these lovely beach chairs.
This definitely beats Milwaukee area right about now.
Right? I know. We're in Delray Beach, Florida, currently at the APP Delray Beach Open. You just won a silver medal yesterday in men's singles. So you're probably tired. This is a nice little relaxing break you get to have even though we're chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of nice to have a day off. It's not something I'm really used to at a tournament. So today we have a little charity fundraiser thing, which is going to be pretty cool.
Very cool indeed. I'll probably make an appearance in like regular clothes and no one will recognize me.
Perfect.
Do you
Incognito.
have that when you put like regular clothes on instead of pickleball?
Masks are great for that.
That is true. But you always, people joke too that your casual wear or everyday attire is actually just pickleball clothes.
Yeah, actually, this is my casual wear right now.
You
I've got
ready to play pickleball at any moment.
I just need to change these shoes.
Yes, the Allbirds are not good for
no.
the court.
I'd be toast.
But you even if you wear like a button-up, don't you wear like as an undershirt like a pickleball shirt underneath?
Well, usually I just have my pile of laundry at home, and it's like a first in or a last in, first out system where that's the accountant in me talking. But whatever I throw on last is the first thing that I pick up off the pile. So it ends up being basically the same shirts over and over and over. And even if I'm wearing something like I don't know, like a pullover, like you said, a lot of times I just have a Franklin t-shirt or something on underneath.
I love it. It's fantastic. Your wardrobe is very expansive. I love it.
I thank you.
All right, so on our first dates here, we're not talking pickleball though.
Perfect.
So you're a young gentleman of 26. So it's not like we necessarily have like, all of this life experience to talk about. But however, I am
wise beyond my age.
That is true. But we do have some fun things. First of all, the most important thing that we have to talk about is your girlfriend, Jenny.
Of course.
Of course.
I thought you were going to say my dog, Murray.
That was a close second because I know we're all about the Murray. We'll get to Murray.
Perfect.
But I don't know. People, I'm sure, may know of your girlfriend, Jenny. Stunning, gorgeous, ivory-skinned, red-haired beauty that she is. But what people may not know is, first of all, how did you guys meet? How long you've been dating? Because you are only 26. How long you've been dating? And that's a fun story that I like to tell.
Yeah, well, hopefully you don't bring in any outside pictures. But the way that we started dating was actually I got mostly naked on top of her car and asked her to homecoming in high school. I had a sign that said homecoming ? In front of the important parts. Now, I did have boxers on underneath, so I wasn't fully in the nude.
A very important point.
But yeah, I asked her to homecoming. I didn't really know her all that well, but we did hit it off.
What year of high school was this?
This is our senior year of high school.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're high school sweethearts.
I know. It's not often that
7 years almost.
I know. I love it. And so you guys, so you knew her through high school? Were you kind of like acquaintance friends or?
Yeah, well, we went to a very small school, so I think our graduating class was about 52 people.
Oh, yeah,
so everybody knew everybody.
Yep.
And everybody went with a date. So it wasn't strange to ask somebody that you didn't really know. The way that I did it was kind of strange, but
your own flair. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's been copied plenty of times afterwards. I'm pretty much a high school legend. I peaked in high school. What can I say? So
All downhill from here.
Exactly.
So basically, so you had such a small high school. Is Jenny in the same grade as you?
She is.
Okay.
She was. Yeah.
So with such a small high school, did you notice her before high school? Were you just all of a sudden like, hey, that girl's really pretty? Or did you know her before high school, in like elementary school, middle school, junior high, any of that? Or why senior year where you're like, oh, hello, Jenny?
Yeah. Well, I think she came to the school that I went to senior year, or I'm sorry, in 7th grade.
Okay.
Because we went to a K through 12 school, and I really liked her in 7th grade, and to show her how I really liked her, I bullied her.
Okay, yes.
I called her names.
Yep.
I stole her pencil once in Spanish class, and she told on me, and I got after school study hall. So for the rest of that year, obviously, I referred to her exclusively as Redhead Snitch.
Oh, uh-huh.
So, so that was like, Google Translate for I like you in 7th grade.
Of course. Uh-huh.
But no, we never really. I mean, I always thought she was super cute and fun and all that type of stuff, but I never asked her out or anything until senior year.
What's her version of like you guys meeting and like how she finally was like into you after clearly letting some things go from earlier in school?
I think she was able to put middle school Zane in the past.
All right.
I think we all want to put our middle school selves in the past, probably. So she was mature enough to realize that I was just a middle school idiot. And now I'm just a 25-year-old idiot. So I really haven't changed all that much.
Goodness, I love it. Oh, sweet Jenny. So let's talk a little bit more about her, because you've leveled up with Jenny. Let's just be fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She is a pageant princess. She was Miss Racine, I believe.
She was,
right?
yeah. She's been Miss Racine. She was Miss Madison, and it was Miss Badgerland, and Miss Rock River Valley currently. So
love it. And she's done a ton of obviously charity work and through the pageant organizations. Is it actually the Miss America
Yep, it's under the Miss America umbrella. So if you win a local title, like Miss Racine, you go on to the state competition, and if you win the state competition, you go on to Miss America, which is different, as I found out, from Miss USA.
Oh.
Yeah, Miss America is more of a scholarship organization where you have a private interview, you do a talent and on-stage question, of course, and then Miss USA is more of just your beauty pageant. I think they do have an on-stage question, but that's more of like a beauty competition.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, perfect. So she currently is doing work in, is it diabetes that she's working with?
Yeah, so she worked for the American Diabetes Association for a little while, and she continues to volunteer with them as well. Unfortunately, the ADA during COVID pretty much almost ceased to exist as an organization. They closed everything but their corporate headquarters in Virginia. So she was SOL.
Oh no. It's a good thing you're making that pickleball money now, right?
I suppose so. Yeah, that 10-figure contract with Franklin, she can just be, she can just lounge.
Keep her in that life she's been accustomed
Exactly.
to. Fantastic. So, speaking of jobs, real world stuff, you actually, you haven't been out of college very long, a couple years now. You went to school to be an accountant, which I don't know if people know. They might not suspect that, knowing, your fun personality.
Knowing that I'm not.
Knowing your personality.
Knowing that I'm not a square.
I feel like people think of accounting and they're like, oh, like math nerds who like numbers and stuff. So they're kind of like, what, Zane? Accounting?
Yeah, they're right.
What? They're like, yep, that was all of them except me. You don't fit the mold. I love it. So tell us kind of, where you went to school, graduated, you got a real job, you were on the path, and then kind of
hold on.
veered off.
I don't like the term real job being thrown around so loosely.
I'm sorry.
That's
yes, you're
actually one of my
correct.
triggers.
Oh, I'm
so,
sorry. I'm traumatizing you already. You're in this first date.
But yeah, so I went to Wisconsin Whitewater, which is about an hour and a half or so away from home, which is a good, nice little distance.
Yep.
I chose to major in accounting while I was there because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I know that I wanted to go into business one way or another, and accounting is kind of the language of the business world. So if you can understand accounting, you can pretty easily transition to finance or marketing, business management, all that type of stuff. Accounting just carries a lot of weight. So I did that. I nerded out in college, spent a lot of time in the library, and I got a dream first job with Deloitte, which is basically the best first job you can get out of college with an accounting degree. And I went there, and I wasn't having all that much fun with it, believe it or not.
Why is that?
Well, I worked a lot.
Yeah, weird. That's so weird that they wanted you to actually put in a lot of time at the office. For a first year. Well,
I had a couple of year-end clients in a row. So everybody thinks about, accountants are busy in tax season.
True.
But I was an auditor, so my kind of busy season, based on the clients that I had, I went basically straight from September, the time that I started, through end of February. Had a little bit of time off, and then was about to do it again in the summer. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Teaching pickleball sounds great.
You're like, let's do something else.
Yeah, I realized, I would have liked to gut it out, but I realized it wasn't something that I wanted to do as a career for forever.
Yeah.
And so I actually initially thought, I want to teach pickleball for the summer while I figure out what my next career path is. But I mean, I don't know what on earth I'm going to do. And I've come to the realization that I'm a horrible employee. I'm very good when I work for myself, but I'm just not a good employee.
Just garbage
Yeah, I think whatever I do, I think I'm going to be an entrepreneur for a while.
I like it. Well, I mean, a lot of people, it's the same story, we're, 16, 17-year-old kids expected to know what we want to do with the rest of our lives. You thought it was accounting or business, and then, you graduate and you get into it and you're kind of like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Or something similar to that. So you didn't even last a year there, let's point out. As you mentioned, terrible employee. So the thing is, though...
I would like to say that I quit. I was not fired.
That is true.
But the timing is a thing.
But recently, you made a very mature decision to do an internship to get the recommended not recommended, the rest of your hours you need to be a CPA, which was kind of your ultimate goal.
Right.
So are you just kind of like, I put in all this work, let's get to the end? Yeah,
well, to begin with, I'm not usually accused of being mature, so thank you.
I'm sorry, the audacity.
But yeah, so I had, in order to become a certified public accountant, you need and this is probably where you're going to lose all your viewership, but in order to become a CPA, you need a year of experience. And so I had 10 months. I had already worked plenty more than 2,000 hours,
sure,
but still just needed a calendar year. So I figured I would do some temporary tax work in February, March, April in order to get my 2 more months of experience, because I've already passed all the CPA exams. Basically, I just need to do 2 months of work, and then I can have a CPA license for forever as long as I continue my education. So I'd say it's a mature career move to and even within pickleball, it's if I'm going to a company for a sponsor, I can say CPA, and that looks better than 25-year-old Deloitte dropout.
And plus you have Murray now, so you have another mouth to feed.
Exactly.
You gotta
although pet food is relatively cheap. We're lucky for that. So
you're feeding him the bad stuff?
Well, I mean, we're not feeding him steak, no.
Okay. I literally, there's a guy on TikTok who's like a chef, and he literally makes little tiny Michelin star rated meals for his puppy.
That's epic.
So
you'll have to send me that.
I know. I absolutely will, and you can start to do that with Murray now, and I think it'll up your TikTok followers.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I see you every once in a while on TikTok, but you know.
Usually my TikToks involve making fun of Kyle, so that's something
true.
that's really gonna probably
Salenko is
Kyle
who we're talking
Salenko,
about,
yeah,
just to be clear.
the guy who runs all the APP streaming stuff. So he's crushing it. Yeah, but a lot of times in my TikToks he's getting crushed. So
Someone has to be your punching bag when it comes
exactly.
to drilling and all of that good stuff.
And he's a very good sport.
Exactly. All right, so I think a lot of people know you come from a heavy tennis background, played in college, all that good stuff. So I kind of want to, I mean, the brief overview is yes, you know, you play. When did you start tennis? Like when you were young?
I think I first started playing when I was about 10.
Okay.
I probably took it seriously when I was like 12 or so.
Okay.
So.
Did you ever have aspirations for like pro tennis?
Yeah, I did, but they were probably delusional. I mean at that point.
Statistically, most people are.
Right. Yeah, but I have no regrets. Obviously, playing a lot of tennis has led me to the point where I can now play pickleball professionally. So yeah, I mean, when I first started, I would have loved to be a pro tennis player, but.
So a lot of people that I've talked to that come from, you know, a heavy tennis background, played in college, and then kind of, you know, that was realistically the ends of their tennis career moving forward. And I know I've even heard from you, since we've known each other a little while now, that the tennis world is a little cutthroat. It's a little, there can be crazy. I've heard some very interesting stories and things, but would you say, I mean, like, what's something about kind of junior tennis, even college tennis, that people might not think about in the tennis world? Because I know I've heard you say there's a lot of like cheating in college tennis.
Yeah, that's pretty well known actually. College tennis is horrible, and that
people that don't come from any tennis background, like,
right,
I don't
they
know,
probably
I
don't know
that.
Anybody within tennis knows that college tennis is just a nightmare, and so yeah, there's so many matches that lines are called out, and you know, it's just really unfortunate. It really takes some of the fun out of things.
Like, I feel like a lot of people that grew up through tennis, it's kind of, it doesn't even sound like it was that much fun.
No.
And it's like, why?
I mean, I still
At any
enjoyed
point
it.
where you're like, this, I'm not having fun. Like, I'm out.
By the end of my time at Whitewater, I was kind of ready to move on because I stopped kind of seeing the end game of it. You know, while at the beginning of my college career, I was like, I want to be an All-American. I want to do all this type of stuff. I achieved it. I was an academic All-American, so that kind of counts, I suppose.
Asterisk.
But yeah, exactly. It's just it does say All-American in there.
It does.
But by the end of it, I was kind of ready to move on to something, and I know for me there was no next step in tennis, right? I was a pretty good D3 player on a nationally ranked team, but that's, you know, I was 7 steps away from being a professional tennis player. Like, it was never going to happen. So I was super pumped that I could do pickleball at a very, very high level and win some prize money.
Yeah, once you were like, holy cow, pickleball is a real thing that exists.
Yeah,
that I could play.
exactly. Exactly.
So you are an only child of the lovely Dennis and Dimple Navratil.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people have sort of asked, you know, your background, all of that good stuff. Dimple is Indian. Mm-hmm. Dennis is not.
Dennis is very pasty white guy.
So tell us just a little bit, kind of, you know, growing up, like what your parents were like, if you guys did like cool family stuff, if they were kind of crazy. They have a small business in Racine, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Shout out to Dimples.
Yes. So just kind of a little bit about, you know, growing up, being an only child with your parents, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. We had the opportunity to travel a lot because they go on these business trips, right? My parents have a store in Racine, Wisconsin, where they import jewelry and clothing from India, China, Thailand. They get chains from Italy. They get Larimar from the Dominican Republic, right? So they are able to go kind of all over the place on quasi-vacation business sort of trips.
Work trips.
Right, exactly. Perks of owning your own business.
Yep.
So I was able to travel a lot with them, which was a ton of fun, and I think that's probably why I really enjoy the traveling of the Pro Pickleball Tour. And yeah, we had a nice family dynamic, and I played a lot of sports with my dad, and my parents were parents, but they're also like my friends, and I wasn't too much of an idiot to kind of ruin that relationship, and they weren't too overly strict to kind of ruin that relationship as well. So it was a nice dynamic.
Nice balance. I love it.
I definitely pissed them off plenty, but
I mean,
what kid doesn't?
Exactly.
If your kid's a total saint, they're doing something behind your back.
Exactly.
Parents, you heard it here first. That is way more scary than your dumb kid getting caught doing something. So
I love it. So, well, that's the thing too, is when you grow up in sports and you're an athlete and you're about to do college, and that's kind of a big part of your life, that really does, not, I hate saying that it's like the normal, high school, college experience to be partying, but a lot of that, when you're kind of have this goal in sports as a big part of it, you really do kind of like buckle down, you focus on sports, you stay out of trouble, you don't mess with stuff that's gonna ruin that, especially when you start at a young age. Was that part of it? Do you feel like had you not had tennis as a big thing, maybe it would have been a different story, or is that just kind of like not your personality?
Yeah, absolutely. I when I was training very hard for tennis, I know like drinking and partying is it's horrible for your training, and I've always been a very, very goal-oriented person with both school and whatever sport I've been playing, and so even now I don't really drink. I do occasionally. I'll have a White Claw and I'll be like hammered because I'm such a lightweight.
Yep.
A, I'm like 130 pounds, and then B, I wake up early. I'm a light person, and I don't ever drink. So and I'll usually play like 4 hours of pickleball and be slightly dehydrated. It's just like a recipe for disaster for getting way too drunk on like half of a White Claw.
It's very true.
I really don't drink too much.
I love it.
So.
However, Jenny, your beautiful girlfriend, what's her favorite beverage?
Oh, she is so in on margaritas. She won't ever get anything else. Yeah, I can't blame her. They are very good, but you can branch out a little bit, right? Try something new.
Good things. Sometimes when you know, you just gotta stick
true.
to what you love. And margaritas do have a lot of variety within the margarita family.
I suppose so, but
Or
there's not that much. She's like lime margarita, on the rocks.
Oh,
yep,
right.
on the rocks.
Love it. So speaking of Dennis and Dimple, you mentioned, you played a lot of sports with your dad. He plays pickleball now. He obviously played tennis with you, I assume, back in the day. Were there any other sports in your background that you ever played even for fun, or just like in school? Were you on any other teams besides tennis?
My first love was soccer. I did soccer for a little while. Until I was probably like 12 or something. And then I got really into baseball.
Okay.
I was a pitcher and I was infielder. I played that for a little while. I dabbled in some basketball. So I did soccer, baseball, and basketball. I wasn't really any good at any of those things, but when it came time for high school, I really focused on tennis. Right. I got kind of all in on tennis when I was about 12. So,
as a 12-year-old does, and they like really just buckle down on a sport that's just.
Well, right now you do see everybody is like specializing. People are specializing in a given sport so early.
But again, that's not the kid's choice. That's a parent making that decision.
Not necessarily. It was.
You think there's 3-year-olds out there that
well,
are
that's
like,
true. Yeah, not 3-year-olds.
Golfing is what I want to do with my life.
I would say at 12 years old, I made the decision to specialize. It was not my parents, but yeah, at 3 years old, nobody's making that choice for themselves.
All right, so you mentioned Murray briefly. He's the newest addition to your family. Tell us just a little bit about Murray, and if you'd like to share his handles or anything exciting
of
about
course.
that.
He's meant to be. Oh yeah, absolutely. He's meant to be Murray on Instagram, but it's the number 2, meant to be Murray, right?
Like boys to men.
Sure, yeah, boys to men. He's believe it or not, we got his doggy DNA test back. He's a plurality pit bull. He doesn't look like he's a pit bull at all. He looks
even
like
close.
a collie, but his brother totally looks like a pit bull. So he's this 30-pound little super mutt, kind of looks like a collie. Really cute. He has a fire Instagram. Loves pooping in the warmth of the inside.
He did first time I met Mary, he peed on my shoes, so.
Yeah, well, some things never get old, right? There's nothing
mean,
like peeing on somebody's shoes.
Exactly, for the first time, and just because you're just so excited to see them.
Right, of course, yeah.
It's a compliment, really.
I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't tinkle a little bit when I meet somebody, so.
Yeah.
We can cut this, right?
We'll edit that out later.
I think that's the content that the viewers want.
It really is. It really is. So it's really funny because I think, every time that you, even if it's talking pickleball, if it's whatever, like you, I think are starting to become very well known sort of in the pickleball world. You're funny, you make jokes, you're kind of, you, even if it's, you just got crushed on the pickleball court, you're still cracking jokes in an interview.
Oh, it's the best time for it. Otherwise you'll get really depressed.
I know. Do you feel like, obviously you were half naked on a car asking Jenny out for the first time. Do you say you've always kind of been like a little class clowny, a little like the one that's making the jokes and not super serious?
Yeah, I suppose so. Actually, it probably comes back to I was bullied a little bit in middle school. I mean, not really anything else more than anybody else, right? It wasn't any crazy bullying. It was really just pretty normal, I would say, and pretty vanilla.
Just, normal basic bullying in school.
Well, yeah, it wasn't anything crazy, but
for what? Like for being little?
No, just general, like, I don't know, anything.
Indian?
Right? Well,
I'm asking what.
Just nothing in particular, but just random little things.
Just kids just being
just
like,
kids
I
just
don't
being
like
little
the
idiots.
look of this guy.
Sure, yeah, but
What? That's terrible.
it wasn't horrible. It wasn't. It was kids being kids.
All right.
But
don't normalize bullying, Zane.
Kids, a little bit of bullying is
Stop
okay.
It. That will get edited.
Just not cyberbullying.
Oh my gosh.
Cyberbullying is bad.
You're the worst.
I'm currently a bully. I bully Kyle Slinko all the time.
That's fair.
But it was probably, I started realizing if I just laughed along with people that were like making fun of me, it would pretty much stop, right? And so after that, I've always kind of just had
like it was born out of like a bit of a defense mechanism?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely was. So I learned to laugh at myself and not take things too seriously. And now I really I don't get offended by basically anything. I can laugh at any joke, even if it's at my expense, for sure.
Do you feel like legitimately, I'm going to get a little serious. Do you feel, even though you feel like it was born out of a defense mechanism, do you feel like as you got older, you were truly able to kind of let that go and it's no longer like I'll just be funny and then people won't have anything to say? Or are you genuinely no, I am great, I'm a confident adult now, I'm good with myself? Or is there still is it still a bit of a defense mechanism, or is it just now I am enjoying it as well? It's not to make sure this doesn't happen.
No, I actually really don't. I really don't get offended anymore. If somebody says something that's ridiculous and jerky, I find it somewhat entertaining. There was this one dude on the pickleball forum. I think he was misinterpreted, but a lot of people were kind of coming to my defense when I signed with Franklin, because he said why is he playing with somebody else's paddle? And I read it for what I thought the guy was saying, and I didn't really get bugged by it by any means. So I think what was at one point a defense mechanism is now I've just figured out how to let things go and not let it get to me.
It really, it's a very good sort of life lesson for anyone, in that not necessarily to do it inauthentically, but when you do get to a point where you can laugh at yourself and just be no, sometimes I am an idiot, or this was ridiculous. If I wasn't me, I'd be laughing at myself as well. That, it really does. It's very, it gets rid of a lot of like things that would be embarrassing maybe in other way, like any other situation. It's just kind of, I mean, I one time went to step over like a seat of a row of seats in a movie theater, and it was the kind of seats that like fold up at the bottom, and my foot like slipped through. Ooh. And I just like face planted in front of like 6 other rows in the movie theater.
That's
and
epic.
I like literally got up and I was just like, and like, I was just like,
did you get a round of applause?
Yeah, a couple of people clapped and stuff, but I was like, I could be mortified right now, or I could just be like, that was outrageous. And it's like, sometimes you just got to be like, yep, that was stupid.
Yeah, and now one of my biggest hobbies is embarrassing other people. So
as you should, especially
I think
Kyle
I've been
Solenko.
Kyle.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle doesn't get super embarrassed, but Jenny does. I think I was really. I think my purpose on this earth is to embarrass Jenny. So perfect example. A couple weeks ago, it was warm in Wisconsin. It was like a 50-degree day, and you know, some Little John song comes on where I forgot what it was. It was like the Get Low song.
Oh,
or wait, no, yeah, Get Low.
I think he's one of like 12 artists on that song. Yep.
Sure, yeah. And naturally, we're rolling through the parking lot of our local Metro Market, and I put the windows down, and I'm just cranking this. And Jenny's like, "Stop it, Zane! Stop it! Stop it!" And I child locked it, so she couldn't do her, so she couldn't roll the windows back up. And we're just cranking this song, and I'm going nuts, and Jenny's like this. So, yeah, now I just embarrass others.
We were talking about Murray though. So so how old is Murray now?
Murray's about 10 months now.
All right.
Yep, we rescued him from, we were fostering dogs for a little while during COVID because we were both working from home. And we had fostered 4, and this dog came into the shelter pregnant, gave birth to Murray. And since the day that he was born, Jenny was like, "That dog is so cute, I want that dog." But we had other dogs that we were fostering. And then Murray was adopted by 2 other families, and both of them fell through. And then we ended up with him. And that's why it was meant to be. Meant to be Murray.
Like, is that meant to be Murray?
That's why it was meant to be.
Look at that.
So.
It all just full circle comes right back to Instagram.
Of course.
As everything does.
Of course.
Instagram. So yes, you can follow Murray on Instagram. Does he have any other social media, or just Instagram at this time?
Just Instagram at this point. He's
slow.
we're gonna focus on Instagram for his influencer career, but sponsors, check him out. We're looking to get him sponsored. Don't waste our time with anything under 10K. So yeah.
He is very cute. I can appreciate that very much. Dibble. So Dennis and Dibble, who have a small business in Racine, Wisconsin, and have for a very long time. So through COVID, obviously, small businesses have been hurting tremendously. They've managed to still stay open, not without, the problems that a lot of people have had. But tell us a little bit about how Dennis is currently in a lawsuit with the city of Racine, Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing. So my parents, like we said, have a small business in Racine, Wisconsin, and my dad at one point went to observed a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, hoping to reopen the state. And so he was masked, and he was staying on the peripheries of the event the whole time, which is why he was interviewed by a couple of different news stations. And so his idea was, if Walmart can be open, right, and if they can be open to sell not only their essential stuff, but their clothing and their jewelry and all that, well, why can't I? I can police my 2,000 square foot property far better than Walmart can do their 80,000 foot warehouse, right? Or whatever the heck Walmart is. So he was saying, you know, I think things should be open, and I'm happy to abide by any rules you put in place. Yeah, so without going into too much of the legal stuff, from what I understand, they missed out on some city grants where there were some criteria that I believe, or they believe that they met in order to qualify for the grants. They did not receive the grants, like I think there were 200 some businesses that did, and they've been in Racine downtown for 20 plus years as well. And then the mayor openly admitted that the reason they didn't get the grants was because my dad had gone to these protests. So now they're in a lawsuit saying that the mayor has discriminated against them for their First and 14th Amendment rights, which is, I guess, freedom of speech and freedom of assembly.
So, good luck, Dennis and Dimple. We're with
Thank you.
We're with you in your fight. Your parents are also extremely supportive of your pickleball career. You know, Dimple's constantly on the live streams.
Oh yeah.
Sending kissy faces, which is very exciting.
No surprise there.
And Dennis plays as well.
Yeah.
He plays in a lot of tournaments, probably
He's a beast.
mostly local. Does he travel too much?
He doesn't really play too many tournaments anymore.
Oh, okay.
He just likes to. We played a lot of tournaments together back in the day, but he's just fine playing rec play stuff. He doesn't really care to go play tournaments and wait around all day and you know, that type of stuff. He likes playing just but yeah, he's still playing at a good 5-0 level. We still drill all the time, so.
Love it. All right, so you recently, we'll just touch briefly on pickleball. You recently signed with Franklin, which is a big deal. Hopefully it was allowed to be talked about, but we actually talked about on the broadcast last night during singles that there's a rumor that you're possibly getting a signature paddle from Franklin. Tell us more.
It's in the works.
All right.
I don't know. I don't really want to go into. I think there are a few changes I would make to the paddle that I'm currently playing with. I really like the Ben Johns paddle. Basically, I had 6 months where I was a free agent, and so I've been able to try basically everything.
Yep.
Ben Johns paddle is what I like the most, but there are a few relatively minor changes that I would make to it to better fit my game. Like one thing in particular is the way that the throat of the paddle is a little bit wide.
Okay.
I would basically kind of, maybe this is too technical, but I would kind of cut off the throat so that I could put my second hand on the backhand a little bit better.
Okay.
So the bottom, instead of like jutting out this way, pretty much just comes out straight.
Okay.
And that would allow me to put my left hand on there a little bit better. So that's one of the minor changes I would make. So.
Is it going to have Murray on your paddle?
Oof, there we go. There's an idea. You know, my dad came up with a great idea that Ben should come out with a version of his paddle, like a limited edition paddle. Limited edition Ben Franklin paddle, like in honor of Benjamin Franklin.
Yes.
It can be Ben's face with like a with like a powdered wig.
Yes.
I think that would be epic.
Oh my gosh.
So
That would be amazing.
A limited edition. I would play with that. I would play with that paddle for sure.
I feel like that would sell out like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Franklin.
I'll have to bring that. I'll bring that over. Oh yeah. I'll get Ryan and Rachel on that.
Do we have any sort of a time frame on the Zane Navratil signature paddle?
I believe it takes a few months to get things through USA Pickleball approval. And then, you know, it kind of depends how picky I'm going to be with it, right?
You want it to be, you know, exactly what you want it to be.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, I would assume probably sometime in the summer this would be available. So
right,
I'd assume so, but
exciting.
I mean, this is my first time going through this process.
Yeah.
Who knows? It could be quicker. It could be longer. So I don't want to.
Exactly.
You know,
no promises.
No
Don't hold them
promises.
to anything. Might not even happen. Who's
June
to say?
15th. Put it on your calendar.
You're like, mark it down. It will be released at 3 p.m. Eastern time. These will be the colors. Is what it looks like. if you would like to put your pre-orders in with Zane right now, he'll take your
For
money
this
and
paddle that
hold
doesn't
it.
exist yet.
Exactly. I love it. So, you're pickleball full time right now. What is sort of looking in, not 100 years down the line, but sort of what's your next couple years in your mind? Assuming COVID gets handled and taken care of, what do the next couple years look like in your ideal world in relation to sort of pickleball, your career in pickleball, teaching clinics, all that good stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna definitely ramp up my teaching. I actually hired my buddy Zane Navratil to be my my kind of camp coordinator, administrator type of
Nice.
thing, because people really don't understand how much administrative work goes into that. And I think my time is better spent actually on the court teaching. So I think we're gonna have I'm really looking forward to that partnership as we start to really get into planning our Wisconsin summer tour and kind of Midwest summer tour.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely looking to continue with the coaching. I'm really enjoying that. And then who knows? Pickleball, there are currently so many opportunities and new ones popping up all the time. I get a lot of random business opportunities, which like almost all of them are horrible, but but eventually,
most things,
right? Eventually, there's going to be something that's presented to me because of where I am currently in pickleball. I'm well enough liked, and I'm a good player, and I've got a good reputation. So I think I'll probably end up getting an opportunity or making an opportunity happen where I can continue my pickleball journey through the business side of things, and that's partially why I want to have that CPA license.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So yeah.
Mesh
So
those
who
two
knows?
worlds
Again, I
together.
still don't really know what I want to do, but I know that pickleball is an industry that I really want to be involved in.
Yeah.
So.
And hopefully as we move forward, it just gets bigger and broader, and like you said, more opportunities every day popping up and stuff. In terms of a player, do you have any specific goals you're working towards in the next year or two?
Yeah, obviously, I think I want to be the number one singles player in the world, and I'm working on it. I've got a big hill to climb to beat Ben, and also stay on top of the other guys who are playing very well, John, Jay, Deckel, Tyson, ton of good players. So I'm just gonna keep grinding away at singles, and keep trying to improve my doubles game. So nothing in
is singles kind of where do you enjoy it more than doubles? Like, is that your main focus?
Singles is great because I don't have Althoff to let me down. So that's
it's so true. I mean,
no. I like singles. I'm probably a little bit better at singles. I like they're different types of exercise, right? I like the feeling of being out of breath, and I don't get that in doubles. So I'm probably better at singles. I like doubles just as well, if not more. So
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, but your main goals are in singles.
Well, I would say no. I want to continue to improve my
sure.
doubles game, and hopefully win some of these APP Tour events with Althoff.
Let's go.
Yes.
So we'll wrap it up here. We get a lot of people that sort of mention watching you on the streams, and I have heard the story before because I've asked you before, but people notice your little quirk that you have every single point of pickleball that you play. Do you know what I'm speaking of?
Yeah, where I touch the fence.
Yep, sure is. A lot of people are like, "Oh, what's going on there?" And I think tennis players have sort of routines and things that they've developed throughout their tennis years, which that comes from tennis, right? So kind of let people know like your little quirk. Yeah.
So this is something that I picked up at Whitewater Tennis. I don't know, when I'm out playing a sport, I really like to just play at a really, really fast pace. Like I don't mess around between points generally during rec play or practice. I'm like go. And so when I play matches, when I was playing at Whitewater, I was the same way. Like winning or losing, I was go. And so things were either really good or they could spiral pretty quickly. And so My coach Frank Barnes kind of introduced the idea of touching the fence as a way of just slowing things down just a little bit and kind of taking a quick second to regroup. And so now it's just something I do. So.
Is there a like specific moment? Do you remember that like you didn't do it, or is it there's no way that you move on without touching the fence?
No, I can manage.
Okay.
Sometimes there's not a fence
so like
to touch.
There's not just like all of a sudden you're having a panic attack on the court because you're like,
right. I'm not OCD like that. No, I'm not like
Okay.
Rafa Nadal where I've got to have my water bottle labels facing one way or the other. No, I can manage if I can't touch the fence. But what I'll do in that case is I'll just kind of walk to the back of the court, turned away from the court for a sec, kind of regroup. And
so it has become it's a bit of a mental exercise.
I suppose
to just
so.
Sort
Yeah.
of, focus back in on the moment ahead of you. Maybe forget what just happened. If it was a bad point, bad call, whatever. Just like a new all right, we're like next point, moving on.
Yeah, and I think it does help me kind of stay. I'm a very intense player on the court. I still have fun. I still goof around, absolutely. But during points, I'm super intense, super focused. And I think just that couple seconds of like just relaxing for a sec helps me with that. If you don't have any break in your intensity, you're eventually going to have a lull, and it's going to be during your points, right? If you're intense during the points and intense between the points, that's got to come down at some point.
Yeah.
So I go intense during the points, relax for a sec when I touch the fence, and then I go intense again. So I think that kind of helps me avoid what some in the pickleball world call the black hole, where you just have like 5 or 6 terrible points in a row.
Yeah, and you can just kind of see it like getting worse and worse. And
Yeah.
The spiral. Yep. Absolutely. Well, something for folks at home to try maybe if you find that you are too intense all the time during the points or you spiral a lot, maybe work on creating your own sort of after each point Zane-ism where you just do what you got to do a little bring yourself back.
A little zen.
Yeah, I like it. Wonderful. All right, so again, a big shout out to Jenny, Dimple, Dennis, Murray, everybody watching at home. The squad. We should probably have mentioned Cassandra Gerke because she is.
Why?
She's part of. Oh, Cass!
Ouch.
Did you see that?
Boom, roasted. That's actually like the most tame thing I've probably ever said to Cassandra.
That's true.
So
we love
and
Cassandra
I would
Gerke
straight up
and
say that if she was sitting right there as well.
100% we know. So I feel like Cass, I know you appreciate that ultimately.
So it's not talking behind somebody's back. It's not crap talking somebody if you would legitimately say the same thing to their face, which I would. So
correct.
Cass and I have an awesome relationship like that where when we're playing together, if she hits a dumb shot, I'll straight up tell her like, that's the dumbest shot I've ever seen. And she has no problem taking that to another level and the same thing to me too, right? And it's usually me doing it. Usually I'm the one. Cass is very, very, she's a consistent player and she does what she does well. I'm all over the place and I do plenty of stupid stuff. So she lets me know about it, which I love. So
I do appreciate it. And just for you, Cass, Zane, who takes the middle?
I take the middle.
Cass knows what we're talking about. It's a whole thing. All right. This was a lovely little first date. Hopefully you enjoyed the mental break of having to talk about pickleball.
I love it. Yeah, I like not talking about pickleball.
It's nice.
So what do you think, we get a second, or was this probably, or should we just kind of go our separate ways? Didn't really work for either of us.
I feel like next time we need to bring Jenny and Murray along.
I agree.
And I would absolutely like to get Jenny's side of the story for many of the things that probably I feel like she'd have a different recollection maybe.
Well, that'd be great. We'd get different stories. Perfect.
Exactly. I love it. Next first date is with Jenny. It's going to be amazing. Murray might join. He'll probably pee on somebody and then
Of course.
that's how it goes.
Tune in next time to see who Murray pees on.
Thank you so much for joining me for another first date with Zane Navratil, pickleball's rising darling superstar, new Franklin acquisition, and we'll expect big things. That paddle, it's in the mail already, that exists.
It's in the works.
I love it. Everyone put it on your calendar. Was it June 15th? 3 p.m. release
June 15th,
date.
3 p.m.
People are gonna be like, wait a second, where is this? Is this real? Are
So
they
you know
joking?
viewers of these things, they will see this out of context, right?
100%.
They won't watch the entire show.
Yep.
And then they'll be mad if it doesn't actually come out at
Someone's
3 p.m.
gonna clip
on.
just the portion
Yes.
where you're like June 15th.
That's
Zane
how.
Navratil
That's
paddle,
exactly
and
how
they're
this
gonna post
works.
it on the forum, and then it's
And
gonna
then
be
it's
a whole
done.
thing.
Yeah.
Franklin's gonna be pissed. They'll be like,
They'll
"God,
dump me right
we
away."
Just got this guy.
He's already
So
causing
much
trouble. Already causing trouble.
I love it. Well, always a pleasure to chat with you and joke around, and of course watch you play. It's very exciting. We love commentating and just seeing everything that you're doing. And I'm telling you, man, you got Ben on the ropes. It's happening. It's gonna happen soon. I feel
We're
it.
working on
I
it.
feel
No
it.
promises.
But thank you so much for joining everybody with this first date with Zane Navratil. Tune in to see who I am going on a first date with next.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Zane. Bye.